So here we are in mid-February and 2025, and we got some news that we got to get into. So this one kind of went over my head a little bit. On January 31st, 2025, one band that I'm somewhat familiar with, The Pillows. So back in November 2nd, 2024, The Pillows released a single called Blank that, for some reason, I can't seem to find. I don't know why. But The Pillows, later on January 31st, 2025, they kind of announced that they are actually disbanding. Which is a shame because the band has actually been around since 1989. And apparently they called it quits back in January. So, kind of feels like an end of an era. There is also the Grammys that took place. I really want to skip over this because this is a big nothing burger, but there was a couple of things that did come out of it that I did thought was somewhat interesting. I do want to avoid this because politics. Gojira, they did do a performance at the Olympics. I'm not going to show any video. It seems like a lot of content was being axed for talking about the Olympics because there was a lot of controversy, not just with the Olympic opening ceremony, but throughout the entire Olympics. So, less I talk about it, the better. And again, this was back in 2024. But Gojira did have a performance that was in the opening ceremony. And I did thought the performance was really good. Me and a lot of metal fans also thought that. And if I remember correctly, I think there was a little bit of a Assassin's Creed reference that I don't know how many people got, but as a fan of video games, that was one thing I did catch. Thought it was interesting, but also at the same time to the rest of the opening ceremony and to some parts of the Olympics back in 2024. Yeah, no comment. But there was something else that did happen at the Grammys that was a little noteworthy. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know every band there is, but there is a band called Spiritbox. The lead vocalist, Courtney, she has been seen multiple times taking interviews at the Grammys. But at one point, she kind of did a little bit of a solo interview, and the interviewer actually thought that they were talking to a different artist by the name of Poppy. Poppy was actually at the Grammys as well. She kind of had a little bit of a Christmas dress is what she kind of had. Courtney was dressed in a all black dress. And basically, Courtney had a little bit of something interesting. She could have told the interviewer that, hey, I'm actually Courtney from Spiritbox, or she could go to a completely different route.
And now for something completely different.
Alika? Yep, I am Poppy, and I am...
And Courtney proceeded on with the interview as Poppy. And when asked about questions that only Poppy would know, she deflected and would talk about the metal scene. And this was just cinema. Even if you're not a fan, this is definitely something to where it was completely out of left field, and it was definitely entertaining to hear about. There was also the Super Bowl that kind of happened somewhat recently. I'm not going to talk about that too much, mostly because I kind of know the history of the Super Bowl halftime show. So back in the early 90s, there was actually a TV show called In Living Color. I want to say it was like 93, 94, I believe, that In Living Color said that, hey, we're actually going to be doing a halftime special. And that was going to air on a different channel other than the Super Bowl, obviously. This didn't make too much of a big deal, but unfortunately for advertisers and the NFL, a lot of people actually changed the channel away from the Super Bowl to actually watch the In Living Color halftime special. This actually scared the NFL and advertisers that they actually decided, well, we need to keep eyes on the product so that way these advertisers that pay millions of dollars to have their ads shown during the commercial breaks of the Super Bowl get watched. And because of this, the NFL has started using musical acts to do their halftime shows. And yes, there has been halftime shows before. It's just the halftime shows before the In Living Color incident. Basically, it was a case of you just have your marching bands, your mascots, your cheerleaders, and they would just do stuff for the crowd. Wasn't supposed to be that big of a deal and weren't really televised. Viewing audiences watching on TV, they would be greeted to possibly analysts and various different talking heads just talking about the game, how the first half went, predictions on what they might see in the second half, etc. I did see the actual performance itself, and I think it's fine for what it is for the most part. There might be like some, I think it's just your standard run-of-the-mill Super Bowl halftime show. So this was some interesting information. So I do have one BABYMETAL song reaction in the works. It looks like that they are going to be potentially doing a collab with Slaughter to Prevail. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know every musical act there is. I do know Slaughter to Prevail is a metal band, kind of more in like the hardcore thrash metal scene. I heard of them. I may have seen one music video, I think. But be that as it may, I do kind of feel like BABYMETAL is making a great play by just doing a whole bunch of collabs with a bunch of different bands and artists. As a matter of fact, one of those bands is actually Bloodywood, which that collab, B-Cough, is, I think that's what it's called. That I actually did do a reaction video to, and hopefully I would be able to edit that and get that out to you guys. But speaking of Bloodywood, Bloodywood actually does have a music video out. I believe it was called, I think it's called Tadka, I think is what it's called. I am going to be checking that out when I get the chance. Right now, I'm kind of going through a backlog of videos that I've done previously, and I really want to do a bunch of editing that was long overdue. Again, I'm kind of cherry picking right now what videos I want to do, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting Bloodywood on the back burner, but out of a bunch of bands and artists that I'm kind of interested in right now, Bloodywood is very high on this list. There is also another music video that kind of flew in under the radar. Again, another artist that I definitely want to check out. I'm possibly botching her name. I think her name is Wakazaemon. She's a bassist for East of Eden. She kind of left. She's doing stuff with Marty Friedman. I kind of mentioned this in a previous news video. And it turns out Wanaka, I'm just going to make it easier for myself here, but Wanaka, she actually may have done a music video. I believe it's called Monophony, I believe. And this is definitely another music video that I want to check out. But, again, backlog. I got excited for this new album, but then I saw a date on it. I believe it's Reborn 2013 to 2016. BRIDEAR is one of my favorite bands that I've heard in recent memory. They have some pretty banger songs, in my opinion. So I kind of got excited when I saw this, but seeing Reborn 2013 to 2016 tells me this album is probably just going to be like a best of, but I figured I'll go ahead and still mention it here. So there is a band called Neck, and they actually have a brand new music video. I think it's called, Neck has a brand new music video. I think it's called Zero Sum, if I remember correctly. I do believe I actually have one Neck video in mind. And honestly, I kind of forgot how good it was. So I could be wrong, but without looking it up, editing me is possibly going to correct it if I'm wrong, but I think it was called Lone or Loner. So I did do a reaction to that, and I think I was going through my backlog, and I think I randomly came across that reaction video from Neck, and I was kind of listening to the beat and everything, and I really kind of forgot how good it was. So I'm possibly going to be late to this one, but yeah. I don't know when this video is going to go up, but Neck Zero Sum, it's actually, at least at the time of this recording, it comes out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, when I saw that, I kind of figured I need to get the camera on and I need to do this video as quickly as possible. That's pretty much going to do it for me with this news video. I want to try and get this out as quick as I possibly can for the Neck Zero Sum video. Links in the description below to support me and my channel. Really do appreciate everybody that does so. And I'm out of here. Born to lose, live to win. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Cheese.